Hello and welcome back to Dickinson Dulcimer's instruction videos for hammer dulcimer. This is video number 9 and it is part 2 to decorations and embellishments, which we began on the last video. So let's get right to it. Now the next decoration I would like to cover is called a two-note bounce. Now we're going to work in the C box on the treble bridge, and you can see on this chart where that is. And by the way, you can download this chart for free at dickinsondulcimer.com. Now the secret to this decoration is to strike two different notes with a single hammer stroke. Now there are many different combinations where this is possible, and I'd like to show you a few of them. Now again, we're here in the C box on the treble bridge, and the first combination, the two-note combination with one stroke, I'd like to show you. And I'm going to show you the combinations first, and then I'm going to demonstrate them. But the first one is to strike this C that's on the right side of the treble bridge and this G that's on the left side of the bass bridge. This note and this note. Those two notes at the, with one stroke. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. The second combination is to strike the D right above the C. That's a D. The D and that same G with one stroke. The third combination is to strike that same D note and this C note with one stroke. Those two notes. And then the fourth combination we're going to cover is to strike the G on the treble bridge at the top of the 5-note scale. Now this is, we're in the C box, and the 5-note scale going up the right side of the treble bridge is C, D, E, F, G. That G and this G, same note, but if we play this G and this C with one stroke, it sounds like that. Now let's demonstrate each of these two-string bounces in a song or two so that you can see how they sound and how they work. The first one is the C to a D, C to a G bounce here. And let's see what that sounds like. Let's begin with the familiar Irish tune, Down in the Sally Garden. The tune to Down in the Sally Garden is the first note. That first note, if we use that bounce so that we play 3 notes, it sounds like that, and it's really nice. Listen to this sound. Again. So practice striking this string and letting your hammer come up and move over to strike. It's like a sweeping motion. I'm letting instead of letting the hammer bounce in one place, I'm moving it as it bounces. You have to hold the hammer very lightly and strike it and let it move over and strike the other note. And it's something you'll have to practice a lot, but you'll get the technique if you practice it, and then it'll be fairly easy for you and you can play all of these combinations. Another song I'll demonstrate that same two-note combination for you is an old hymn, Just As I Am. The melody is and the beginning note, if you use that same two-note bounce, sounds real nice. So there's two songs that shows you what that combination sounds like if you use it as a beginning note for the songs. The D and G bounce, this is the D and the G. Instead of those two, it's those two. Instead of those, it's those. And so if you play the first note with those two strings, single stroke playing those two notes, and the second note underneath, which is the B note, that's a nice combination to use when you're playing the 5 chord in a 1-4-5 chord progression. Now you can find how to play 1-4-5 chord progressions in the Hammer Dulcimer Instruction Manual, which is the companion book to these videos. If you have the book, it begins on page 19, and if you don't, you can take a look at it and order it if you like. It's on the home page of dickinsondulcimer.com. Now the D and C bounce, that's a bounce or a move that you'll see used a lot in bluegrass songs. You've heard bluegrass banjos and mandolins and guitars play this sound. You've heard them. You've heard songs that sound like that have an ending that sound like this. You're playing actually 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you can play those same 4 notes with 3 strokes by using the bounce. You can play the first 2 notes with 1 move, with 1 stroke. The reason you might want to use that bounce instead of playing each note with different hammer strokes is because sometimes in really quick bluegrass tunes, the kind that Ricky Skaggs and other really fast bluegrass players play, you're looking for a way to increase speed so that you can play the songs that they play. And obviously playing with 2 strokes rather than 3 strokes can be a little bit faster, and so it's just an easier and faster way to play those 4 notes sometimes if you want to do it that way. The B part, for instance, the B part to Cripple Creek sounds like this. See those 4 notes? And you can play them this way. So that's a way that you can use that 2-note combination with a single stroke to play bluegrass tunes. Now finally, the G and C bounce at the top of the 5-note scale, as I showed you a moment ago, this is the C box, and the 5-note scale on the right side of the treble bridge is, and we have a 2-note bounce using the G and the C on the bass bridge. That's a nice note, nice combination of notes to use in many songs. I know you've all heard Danny Boy, the song Danny Boy. In the B part of Danny Boy, it sounds like this. Well, when you get to the top of this little scale over here on the left side of the treble bridge, if you use that bounce before that top note, it sounds really nice. Listen to this. So that's a way you can use the 2-string bounce at the top of this 5-note scale on the right side of a box, and here it's the C box, using the G and the C. The next decoration I want to show you is what I call a ratatat. It's a neat percussion stroke that I use a lot in my hammer dulcimer playing. It's usually played with a left hammer drone. And if you're following along in the book, drones are covered in practice skills 9, 10, and 11 in the book, beginning on page 39. Now to demonstrate the ratatat, I'm going to play a little bit of I'll Fly Away, and I'm going to begin with a simple melody. The melody to I'll Fly Away sounds like this. Okay, now if we add a drone, just a simple drone to that melody, it sounds like this. And we're going to add this G drone. And the drone moves up to the A. Now the rat-a-tat adds a couple of extra notes in, and it's a move that you need to practice over and over until you're really comfortable with it. Instead of playing, I hit the first note, which is this E, and this G at the same time, and then I rat-a-tat, rat-a-tat. I do it very slowly for you. And it sounds like this when you use the rat-a-tat. You see what I'm doing? Instead of playing, I'm adding the rat-a-tat. And on the B part, see here the rat-a-tat? I'm just moving back and forth, playing my left hammer on this G and moving my right hammer back and forth from the C to the G. You hear all those rat-a-tats? All the rat-a-tat is it's two notes at once and then rat-a-tat. You can play any combination of notes. So practice that move. Use any notes you like and practice it until you're very comfortable with that move. It's called the rat-a-tat. Let me show you a few examples of using arpeggios in some songs, and I'll use mostly notes that are in the chord that I'm playing, but sometimes I'll add a note that's not in that chord. We played a few moments ago an old hymn called Just As I Am, and using some arpeggios, it would sound like this. See those arpeggios? And I play an Irish song called In the Sally Garden, and the melody is adding arpeggios. It sounds like this. Now what I'm doing when I do that, actually, it looks a lot more complicated than it is. I'm playing the first three notes of the song, and you'll notice that the song is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Those are eighth notes. So when the melody is eighth notes, but when it turns into a quarter or a half note, you have space to fill. Listen to the space. I fill those spaces with arpeggio, so when the melody goes, I have some space, I fill it by playing an arpeggio. That's the arpeggio. Hear that space? I now fill that with arpeggio. You can pick any combination of notes that sound good to you and experiment. No two dulcimer players play anything alike, but you pick notes that sound good to you. How about a Christmas song, Silent Night? The melody is and let's fill those spaces with arpeggios. See how I'm filling the spaces with just arpeggios. You don't have to do it all the time, but you experiment and play arpeggios where there's empty space in the melody, and add things that you like. You can play combinations of these embellishments or decorations that we've covered. For instance, I'll go back to Just As I Am, and instead of just playing arpeggios, those are just arpeggios with the melody. Suppose I add some of the bounces and other things that we've talked about. You see how they work together. Now, on the next video, I'm going to use a couple of songs to demonstrate the decorations that we've learned. I think I'm going to cover I'll Fly Away and Down in the Sally Garden. We've talked about those a lot. And I'm going to play those two songs at the usual speed to show you what they sound like with all of the decorations in them. And then I'm going to slow it way down so that you can watch and learn each stroke and each move, each embellishment. So keep a watch for video number 10. It'll be coming out very soon, and we'll cover those two songs. And please leave a YouTube comment to this video, and also remember to check out the companion book to these videos. It's called The Essential Hammer Dulcimer Instruction Manual. You can pick one up at Song of the Wood Music Store in Black Mountain, North Carolina, or you can order one right from our website, dickinsondulcimer.com. Until next time, this is Jess Dickinson saying keep practicing, you're going to be great.